Good morning. This isn't about silver. This is an update on the sad state of how elderly are treated. The other day, I saw my mother on the back porch, and she was just laying there in a lounge chair, and I come back 5 minutes later, and she's unconscious on the floor. So I called 911. 911 call comes. By the time they get there, she's conscious. They take her away. I follow them down to the hospital and follow them into the emergency room, give them a copy of my power of attorney, durable power of attorney, and her living will, and deal with them on that level, and her insurance, her Medicare, and her supplemental insurance, which is running me 30 about 3,800 a year. Now, what happened was I left her there because they were going to admit her. Um, I call in the next morning and she's caused a disruption in the ER. I don't even know how that's possible, but the woman who was my mother died years ago, and I'm left with this nasty, brutish, vindictive person that I have to live with. Now, what happened was they they put her in. She refused to take any of her medicine. She's cussing at everybody that comes in the room. Uh, but what the worst thing that happened was the minute I called 911, then hospice, which is only supposed to deal with patients that are dying, they dropped my case immediately because we're not supposed to call 911. We're supposed to let them lay there and drop dead. Well, uh, that didn't happen. I called 911, regrettably. So when you go to the hospital, Medicare allows you 21 days in a rehab center. So we were lining up the rehab center, and then my insurance, being I have the best AARP offers, was going to pay for another 120 days after that. So what happened? I know I'm saying so many times. I'm so disgusted. That's the problem. What happened was, because they didn't treat her, she refused all the tests that they wanted to give her. Now, when I went in there, the first thing I did was gave them durable power of attorney. I told them she's not to be given an aspirin or anything without the doctor calling me. If they want to give her any tests, all tests and all have to be approved by me. My mother, who is absolutely wacko, and they know it, and they took I sat there while they took the and made copies of the power of attorney and the living will. They took her word for it because she didn't want the test. They didn't give them because they didn't give the tests. They were monitoring her, not treating her. Therefore, I wasn't eligible for the 21 days of Medicare rehab, and I wasn't no longer eligible for hospice and the person that they send in every day. So now I have to pay someone to come in and sit with her while I work. Why I work, I don't even fucking know, because uh, I I don't make that much more than it costs me to pay somebody to sit with my mother. And then I'm stuck here for 21 hours a day, can't even leave the goddamn house, let alone go in you've seen my backyard, how beautiful it is, and my four-level deck and all that, that I can't even go out back there. My dog hardly knows me. I feed him once a day, and that's about all I get to see him. It's just a hellhole. Uh, now the Medicare pays doctors bonuses if they get the quicker they get patients out of the hospital for each condition, which I can see is justifiable. I mean, Medicare is a very expensive process, but because she refused the test, they shouldn't have even asked her about the test. Because of the power of attorney, all tests should have they could have called me, and I said, go ahead with the damn test, as long as it doesn't do anything invasive. They wanted to do ultrasound on carotid artery in your neck to determine if that was the cause of her blacking out. Now that's a non-invasive thing. They just put some grease on your neck, put the sound thing on your neck, and that would have been a, a, a treatment and would have made me eligible to put her in a nursing home for 21 days because she refused it. She doesn't have the ability to refuse it, God damn it. I go out of my way every time to make sure that on the clipboard is a living will, and the fact that all things had to be approved by me, and because she turned them down, they didn't give them to her. Now, what kind of crap is that? She's a mental case to start with, and you're going to go by what somebody that, by your own admission, is a nutcase. You're going to go by what they say. This system sucks. Someday I'll tell you the problem I had when my brother was dying. I was in charge whether or not he was to be unplugged, and by his own words and by his written living will, he never wanted to be plugged in the first place, and it took me uh, to find three doctors that would sign off on it, and then I had to have a special meeting with the board of governors of the goddamn hospital for something that was already written in Lawyers Inc. This system sucks.